In today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys my top 5 picks for Calder Trophy favorites heading into next season. Starting off with the obvious one, you guys seen it in the thumbnail, Rasmus Dahlin of the Buffalo Sabres, the first overall pick in this previous NHL draft, and in my opinion, he is a lock to be in the opening night starting lineup because this guy is a franchise-changing player. That's obviously why he went number 1 overall and was picked to go number 1 overall throughout the whole year. No one really challenged him to take that spot away from him. He's going to have a huge impact on the Buffalo Sabres, and he really could be the piece that they need to get them back into the playoffs, where that is ultimately the end goal, where they want to be. He played for Frölunda in the 16-17 and 17-18 season. His best season, obviously, in the 2017-18 season, where he played in 41 games and had 7 goals and 13 assists for 20 points. And not only do I think Dahlin is going to put up a pretty hefty amount of points in his NHL season in his rookie year, I'm thinking around 40 to 45 points from him, but he actually is an underrated hitter. I've seen some clips of him blowing people up at Buffalo Sabres development camp, so I think Sabres fans have to be very excited about Dahlin, and I think if you're talking about Calder Trophy favorites for next season, you'd be stupid not to include Rasmus Dahlin. Next up is Martin Necas of the Carolina Hurricanes, and he was drafted in the first round, 12th overall in the 2017 NHL draft. He's been playing in the Czech League, where in this previous season he played in 24 games and put up 9 goals and 8 assists for 17 points. And the Czech League is a very good league. You're playing against grown men and some very skilled players. There's some former NHL players in that league. And Martin Necas really did stand out and play very well. And also he played fantastic in the World Junior Championships. And Carolina has an absolute stud in Necas. I can see him coming in and being their second or even first line center next season. I think he's NHL ready. I think waiting a year was smart. I think not rushing him into the lineup right away was a very good move by the Carolina Hurricanes. And this guy coming in with Andrey Tsvetkov and all those young players that they have in place, the future is really bright for Carolina. And Necas doesn't really get talked about all that much because there are so many good young players on the Carolina Hurricanes roster. But out of all of them, he could be the best. And I think he's a really dark horse that not many people think about when they talk about Calder Trophy favorites for next season. So that's why I have Necas on my list. Next up is another obvious one. That is Elias Patterson of the Vancouver Canucks. He is probably the most talked about prospect out of any NHL prospect affiliated with the team right now, and it's for good reason. He's been absolutely lighting it up over in Sweden, especially since being drafted by the Canucks playing this past season over there. He was unbelievable, breaking records, winning awards left and right, and leading his team to a championship. So those are some very good signs for the Canucks fans and the Canucks organization, and he did sign his entry-level deal this summer, and you can bet we will see Elias Patterson in the Vancouver Canucks lineup next season, and I think he's going to do some damage playing with guys like Brock Besser and Bo Horvat on the power play. That is going to be deadly. This past season for Vaxjo, I hope I'm saying that right, 44 games played, 24 goals and 32 assists for 56 points. And that's not an easy league to play in, and especially for a guy that's kind of undersized like him. I mean, he's tall, but he's really thin and he can get hit easily, but he is a very skilled, talented player. He knows how to avoid hits. He knows where to be and where to play to be successful. And if he can add on a little bit of weight, I'm not saying he's not going to be good if he stays at the weight he is, because he is. I think the people that are saying he's not going to be good because of his weight are just overreacting, because there are a lot of really good tiny NHL players. So I think the future is very bright for Elias Patterson, and we could see him putting up anywhere from 50 to 60 points next season for the Vancouver Canucks and just having a really good season for them. Next up is Andrey Tsvetkov, that was drafted 2nd overall in this previous NHL draft by the Carolina Hurricanes. And this guy, in my opinion, is going to be an absolute offensive juggernaut. He's the younger brother of Detroit Red Wings Evgeny Svechnikov, definitely the better player out of the two already. And I was kind of hoping he would fall to Detroit, or Detroit would get up there in the draft lottery to reunite the brothers. But obviously that isn't how it worked out. He went to the Carolina Hurricanes. He played the 17-18 season for the Barrie Colts, putting up 40 goals in 44 games, adding 32 assists for a total of 72 points. So you guys see what I mean when I say he's going to be an offensive juggernaut. I mean 40 goals in 44 games. He's a big guy too, so he uses his body well. He kind of reminds me of a faster and just more talented Rick Nash. So I think his future in the NHL is going to be unreal. I think we're going to see Andrey Tsvetkov with some 35 to 40 goal seasons, or maybe even more than that. So the Carolina Hurricanes roster is just absolutely loaded with young talent, and I'm very excited to see Andrey Tsvetkov play with guys like Martin Necas, Jeff Skinner, and Sebastian Aho next season in the NHL, because you can bet Tsvetkov is going to make that team and play top 6 minutes. And lastly, my pick to actually win the Calder Trophy next season, that is Casey Mittelstadt, and that probably is an unpopular opinion with a lot of people. I know a lot of people are already picking Elias Patterson to win it next season, but in my opinion, I just think Casey Mittelstadt is in the best situation to win it. He's not going to have too much pressure on him because he's going to be playing with guys like Jack Eichel, Alexander Nylander, and Rasmus Dahlin is going to be on that team as well. So I think Casey Mittelstadt is just in a perfect position to have an unbelievable rookie season next year. He was drafted in the first round, 8th overall in the 2017 NHL draft. He played last season at the University of Minnesota, putting up 11 goals and 19 assists for 30 points in 34 games. He also appeared in 6 games with the Buffalo Sabres when they brought him over after his college season ended, and he scored 1 goal and added 4 assists for 5 points, looking very good in those games. And this guy, I'm so excited to watch next year. Aside from the Detroit Red Wings prospects, this is probably a guy I'm most excited to see play next season, especially since he doesn't have a lot of pressure on him. In my opinion, Elias Patterson does have a lot of pressure on him. He plays for a Canadian team. There's a lot of diehard Canucks fans that have really high hopes for him, and I just think Casey Mittelstadt is going to kind of fly under the radar and just have a really solid season. I could see Mittelstadt putting up anywhere from 50 to maybe even 70 points, so I'm very excited to see him play. He looked fantastic in his NHL games this past year, so he really is my favorite to win the Calder Trophy next season. So that is going to wrap up the video. I really hope you guys did enjoy. Make sure to let me know down in the comments section who your guys' favorites are to win the Calder Trophy next season. I'm very curious to hear. Remember, this is just my opinion. You guys can leave yours down below. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please make sure to drop a like on it and subscribe to the channel for daily NHL content. And I'll see you guys all in the next video.